Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Good posture is a key in approaching women. Good posture is a key in approaching women. Check it out, right? A couple of weeks ago on my Connect Pal site, I had a webinar and a beautiful young lady presented something to the fellas on there. For those familiar with my Connect Pal site, I always have monthly webinars. I've had, Scorpio on there, BGS, even the Grandmaster of Verbal Seduction, Alan Roger Curry. So I've had several people on there. So I had a young lady and she presented some stuff and, from a woman's point of view. And one of the things that was really interesting, she presented something about posture. Like women are checking out a man's posture. Now I've talked about body language and, I talk about drip, body game and all of that. But they are also checking out a man's posture and reading a lot from it. And I knew that from personal experience. I've had several women tell me they like how I walk. And one woman, I never forget, she was like, "Ron, you got a sexy walk." But they walk, see, the thing is, how you walk, your posture, they reading a lot. See, understand something, I've talked about this before. Verbal communication is only at best 10% of communication, really about 8%. That means the other 90% is nonverbal. And women, they are very, very astute at reading nonverbal language. They looking at the bigger picture. And some men, depending on where they grew up, they can get good at it. But women especially, so they are looking at how the man is moving. How is he walking? Is he walking as if he's timid? If he's walking as if he's scared? Is he walking like he owns the world? That's a very important thing. That's a very important thing. Is he confident? Is his head up high? Is his shoulders back? How's he moving? His posture? Is he walking all goofy and everything? Or he's walking like, does he have a erect stance? Military-like stance. They paying attention to all of that stuff and they making a determination. Now, we talking about approach. There's always the argument about cold approach or choosing signals. Which even with choosing signals just means she's opening the door. You still got to approach it. So no matter how you look at it, in most cases, you got to approach or something. In most cases, there are real exceptions. Some dudes are just that thorough and the women will make the move. A lot of guys don't get it because, you ain't in that position. The guys who don't get it, but it does happen. But for the most part, majority of men need to have some approach. All right, so you're approaching. Now, see, a lot of guys, they might try to find out, okay, what line can I say? What can I say? Or they have like something practice, they might learn routines from someone. Okay, you said that. Now, say you come up and say, here's an example. And I use this in my book, Meeting Attractive Women. Kind of is close to what I use. All right, you approach a woman, right? And you say, you know what, you the CEO of a company. Because you thinking, oh yeah, well, if I tell I got some money and status, I'm gonna get some play. All right, let's take your clothing out of the equation for a second, because some very rich people may be dressed ordinary. Okay, let's take that out. She's gonna look at your body language, your posture and everything to try to determine if that matches. Are you walking like a CEO? Are you walking like you run something? Or you try to say, yeah, I'm this thorough dude and, trying to impress her. Now let's get out of your voice tone and all of that. That's a whole other video. She's looking at your posture. Is he walking like he runs stuff? Is he, is his head held up high? Does he look like he manages like several hundred or several thousand people? And if you're not walking, if your posture doesn't suggest so, she's gonna be like, whatever. In fact, if you've ever seen like CEOs, and this is regardless of like their bone structure, their height or anything else, they walk a certain way, they carry themselves a certain way. In fact, and like I said, mostly women got that skill. Some men do. Like a lot of salesmen might have it. Like when I was working retail at this department store, I never forget there was this guy who was a salesman, and he was a customer, but he knew who the general manager was, even though the general manager didn't have anything on him to identify it. And I said, how'd you know that? He said, look at how he's walking, look at how he's carrying himself, look at how he's holding his head. Women are really astute at that. Women are really astute at that. They're looking at all of those things. That's why some guys, they'll approach a bunch of women. They'll approach a bunch of women and constantly fail. You've heard stories about guys, they approach, they say, no matter what I do. And they'll think it's because, oh, wow, they don't have that bone structure or something. They don't look like Chad or something. It was like, well, how'd you approach it? Walk over there. Well, you walking like you unconfident. You ain't walking with purpose. You know, you're walking in such a way it's not turning her on. You know, shoot. I mean, that's the important thing. That's the important thing. Like your posture is like, you know, how you doing? It's like, I'm gonna tell you what, the posture thing is even deeper than women. And dude, I'm gonna tell you what. People from the streets know this, and some people say, why you always talking about the streets, Ron? Why? It's not even about the thug thing. One thing about the streets, and I'll bring up stuff about that, is a lot of game is there and people using it for survival. And people reading people. Like anybody know, if you walk through certain neighborhoods, you can't look like a lick or a mark. Like you can walk through certain neighborhoods, even bad neighborhoods, and people will keep their distance if you walk like, oh yeah, you step to me, this is what you gotta deal with. But if you walking through like a lick or like a victim, you walking through giving off some scared energy, how you walking nervous, oh, you pretty much asking them to rob you. That's why you can get some people, they constantly getting robbed, and some other people, it's like, well, hold up, I went to the same place, right? Like I give an example of that. When I was working, I told this story before, when I was working at this one gym. It was in Marlboro Heights, Maryland. And people, I don't know how it is now with gentrification and all of that stuff, but it was a little rough then. It was a snowstorm out. And I remember there were a couple young boys out, you know, they were just in the parking lot. And they were by this one member's car. So this dude went out there. Now, this a gym. There's snowing out. He had a tank top on. He could bench 400, so he's like, you know, this dude was diesel. He walked out there in a snowstorm, snow coming down, walked up to him and backed him off the car. And we saw how he walked. He looked like he was going out there to hurt him. Now, it was significant because those same young boys, about roughly 20 minutes later, robbed like a Chinese takeout that was in that same little mini mall. So it was like, man, but he scared him. I mean, these guys were armed. He scared him just because, like, not just his size, but how he walked out. Because I remember he walked out like, and we were like, like, man, oh, man. And like I said, this dude benched 400, like routinely, like 4 plates on each side. So he looked like, hey, that's another thing about body game. If you look like you can body slam somebody, it keeps people out of your way. So keep that in mind. But, you know, how you walk, how you move, that's very important. See, women paying attention to all of that. See, some guys think, like I've always get some guys, they looking for some magic word or something. I'll say, man, you got to work on the rest of you. It don't mean anything. Like what you say and how you, not just how you look, but how you move, it's all being brought together. Like I've always said, women look at the entire package. They look at every little thing. So this is very important. Like if you need to, look at how you walk. Pay attention to how you walk. You know, you walking up like you got an erect stance, or you like, you know, goofy and everything. And I'm gonna tell you how deep it is. I'll be staying on my sons about how they walk. I constantly stay on them about how they walk. And I was like, nah, hold up, man, get your shoulders back a bit. Constantly, you know? So this is a very important thing. You know, that's why sometimes a lot of women, they might see some guys like think they military. Like I use myself for an example. People constantly think I've been in the military or Nation of Islam, one or the other. And I haven't been in either, but it was just, they say it's just because of how you walk and everything, you know? So anyway, posture, 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 okay? Keep in mind, women are looking at every little thing. Every little thing. And a lot, if you're going to approach women, you got to look confident. You got to move confident. All right. That's why a lot of guys lose out. It's like, it ain't even what you say. In fact, that wins the battle right there. All you have to do is just you could just say hi and she's like, ooh. But you gotta have that right posture. You gotta have that walk. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.